The guy, her, I spit with a repetition. The channel this premonition. Vocab is my ammunition. Getting turned like an ignition. Weaponize the pen, I'm gripping the Guycast episode again intro.
16.
I don't know what episode we're on. It's gonna change because
like infinite now, you know.
There's a couple of episodes that just did not transfer. If
we
you
never
guys
end.
Have not been keeping up to count or up to par. We've just but come across new equipment, and we're still working with pretty like janky software. So some of the video has not been 100%, and some of the audio hasn't. So slowly, progressively, we're getting towards 100% fluidity. But
we try to cut out the ones that we don't think are worthy to, you know. Just
the ones that it's just like, this is so much work that it's like, I cannot recover this. I can't savage it. But until then, this is still Guycast episode. I'm calling it E-3PO because the biggest thing that we're going to talk about is E3. There's a couple products and a couple of topics that we need to get out the way before we get into that. But just three things that I really want to get over and get into is...
Get over, that got really morbid.
Let's start off sad as fuck.
Okay, alright, we're just going to start off down,
shit.
And then we're going to go up this podcast, you know.
Back right down again.
No, we're going to go down at the end?
Who knows?
No, okay, that's not...
So if you're not a huge... nerd, and you're not on Facebook, and you don't live on social media, you may not know that, sadly, Christopher Lee has passed away. If you don't know who Christopher Lee is right off the bat, he is Saruman, he's Count Dooku, he was one of what you would call the original Dracula, if you're,
old.
If you're old.
Yeah.
But he's, an amazing actor. He's been
around for...
He's broken the Guinness World Records and being one of the... dude who's been in the most films, of all times. Just so much, a giant body of work.
Yeah.
And it's just sad to see that he goes. He was 93, so... He beat it. He won.
Yeah,
that motherfucker won. Dude, he was one of the only dudes to, be... Not videotaped, but, to be documented fighting Yoda. That dude fought Yoda straight up. He fucking cut off Anakin.
I thought you were going to say something profound, documented most of his life through his films so you can watch him grow up. He fought
a CGI Jedi master.
No, he's one of the few people to be documented fighting Yoda. So.
Yeah, and he had a cool-ass gangster-ass hilt. He's like, fuck straight hilts. That's the gayest thing ever, is to have a straight hilt.
I think he was trying to be a cane, though. I'm just fucking...
Who knows? But
I'm sorry, I don't want to be a dick.
That's the sad news. If you don't know about him, you should go watch all his stuff. It's really fucking good. But to try and bring us back up again before we get into E3...
Punisher?
The Punisher. If you guys have not watched Daredevil Season 1, he is on Netflix, or it is on Netflix.
You should watch it. You should watch it.
Is it still on Netflix?
It's still on Netflix for sure.
It has to be, dude. It's one of the top grossing shows. It's a
little violent. I mean, don't watch it with kids.
The day before it was released, it was a 99% on Rotten Tomato.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know it rated that high. Holy shit.
The day before it was released, which means it was only, the critics and stuff like that.
It's good. It's
good.
Definitely good. There's Easter eggs all over it. And so in the second season is going to be probably Easter egg heavy as shit.
Because if they don't introduce the characters that they're kind of foreshadowing now into Season 2, they're just going to be heavily cameoed or at least, like you said, just a bunch of Easter eggs before we get into the actual meat of the storyline. I don't know what they're going to go over. I don't know the next enemy. I don't know the main villain or anything like that. But the Punisher has been confirmed. If you guys don't know who, I believe it's John Berthal. He's Shane from The Walking Dead. He was also in the movie Fury.
Big dude.
And he was also in, Wolf on Wall Street.
Oh,
he was the guy that lifts weights in his yard. And he,
no joke?
Yeah, he was that
I did not even realize.
Yeah, he's super cool. I love that actor. He did an amazing, interpretation or whatever you would call his character as Shane, and I love that dark, dude man. Immediately from The Walking Dead. People are always so bad, negatively against the villain, which is understandable.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's not supposed to win, but when you're good at it, when you're just that tapped into that character, done. I immediately want you to win. Fuck the heroes and the good guys.
Do you think they're going to start it off Punisher versus Daredevil for a while, or do you think we're going to watch his progression over time from regular Frank Castle to the Punisher? How do you think they're going to do it in the show in Season 2?
There's not a for sure timeline. All we know that he's been confirmed to be that character, but what we don't know is the storyline that is going to take place.
Yeah.
What Daredevil storyline? I'm not very prevalent in Daredevil news, so I don't really know. Even some of his main villains, I'm not this is about to happen.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, and from the rumors that we've been told, or that I've been told, is that there's going to be the same exact thing that happened kind of with who's another character? Not many TV series that done this, but you're gonna see an origin story, straight up, just normal character. Frank Castle is the Punisher. That's his original name, and he's a cop. He's like an undercover cop, and he's very well respected, highly skilled, and he works in Hell's Kitchen. He's a part of New York. He's technically NYPD or
him and Daredevil are kind of like the storylines.
Yeah, they definitely coincide very, very often. And what I've heard is that you're going to see Frank Castle, whether as a lieutenant or an undercover cop or something, you're going to see him as a very ordinary character, and then all of a sudden something's going to snap where his family's going to be killed. There's a tie-in with the mob. There's going to be some kind of crazy organized crime.
You know what that's going to bring up?
Maybe the hand.
It's going to bring up all the, what is it?
Iron Fist?
Well, no, the mob and all that kind of shit. I mean, because that's going to make them a villain, because that is going to be in the Daredevil timeline too. So, I mean, that could be a potential villain, you know, just the mob in general, the Italians and how that all that stuff. I mean, because that's going to be brought in with the Punisher. So we're going to have that as like an overshadowing bad guy figure.
Kind of plot. I don't know enough about it, but it'd be cool to think, like, from what I've gathered from Daredevil, a couple of channels or panels that I've read in some of the movies and TV shows, that like Bullseye is introduced into the storyline through the Mafia because they buy him in order to take out Daredevil, and that's how you introduce his one of his his arch enemy. That's his Venom, or his Joker. So
and just a reminder too, they already Easter egg Bullseye. I mean, he was a sniper that was on the rooftop that shot the cop that was working for Wilson Fisk. So I mean, we know he exists in this realm,
but
somewhere.
We don't know who he's going to be portrayed as. We don't know what race.
Who's they're going to cast? Yeah,
it'd be weird if they choose a different race. Not saying like we shouldn't be going towards diversity and stuff, but it's just like there's certain things where it's like that character is not going to be referenced or symbolized as that dude unless they change it up so quickly. Like
he's gonna have to be a weird looking white dude. That's just kind of how it is. Yeah.
You gotta have, but you has to have like. It was cool, like when you saw in the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, and he had that fucking
bullseye on his forehead.
Bullseye in his forehead. That was pretty fucking dope. But other than that, like I don't really know what you could.
Who was it? That was Colin Farrell, right? Colin Farrell. Yeah.
I don't know what you can do to like set the new Bullseye apart. It's kind of like trying to be the new Joker. It's like you have to have some kind of symbol, some kind of icon.
Honestly, that Daredevil movie like sucked or whatever. I kind of liked it. I was a little kid when it came out. Yeah, I was a little kid when it came out. Is that batteries? Are we cool?
Yeah, we'll just use this.
All right, cool. Anyway, but Colin Farrell was a badass Bullseye in my opinion. Like he was my favorite part of that movie.
He was like
for
the
sure.
chillest Bullseye, where it's like, dude, you're not like some crazy lunatic.
When he's playing darts, when you first meet him, dude, and just like boom,
and he's like drinking a beer.
Yeah,
and then he fucking folds up the paper clips and just shoots it into that dude's neck.
Do you remember when he's on the plane and he takes a Skittle or an M&M or something and like flicks it off the back of the chair and in that lady's throat?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Chick? I don't know if it was a dude or a chick.
Anyways, choke the shit out of somebody's. Like, just went to sleep. Done. Yeah, I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
So you want to move on to E3?
I think so.
Start off with Dishonored. Dishonored 2.
Okay. Well, first off, how did you watch E3? Like, what was your first thing that you watched?
IGN. There's live streams all over YouTube. I actually think this is like the most well-documented E3.
It's the most live stream thing that I've seen that you can find as easily.
Last year wasn't this much. I mean, as soon as you go to YouTube right now, there's like a little banner on top that's like, watch this shit live.
E3.
Yeah, they're all over it. Like, not just like people who are video games, but like everybody. They're showing E3 stuff too. So I mean, it's getting much bigger and much more universal now. Now, E3 is only supposed to be for, like, business partners and stuff like that. It's not supposed to be for the general public. I don't know if E3... Like, E3 was actually shut down once before for, like, a couple of years. Did you know that? Like, in 2008, I want to say? Because it was getting too big, and the booths were getting too big, and it wasn't what it was supposed to be, like a developers conference. So they shut it down, and they're like, fuck it, it's too big. And then, like, 2 years later, it reopened.
Revamped it.
Yeah, and it was, like, all super businessy. And then over the years, it's slowly gotten more and more, like...
Convention.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Then it's not supposed to be a con. You're only supposed to be able to get in there if you have a badge and you work for a company. But anyway, digressing a little bit. A lot of new games came out, or were fucking
announced or you were seeing like full trailers for. Like,
I know which one you want us to talk about, but we're not going to talk about it till the end.
We'll get there.
I'm sorry. It's gonna come. It's gonna come up.
Okay, first, the one that's the least, like, not necessarily least prevalent, but the one that most people aren't going to pay that much attention to, is going to be Doom. I'm a huge fan of Doom, not knowing the original story. Like, I didn't play the original game that started off for PC, if I'm correct. And then, I played Doom 3. That's how I got introduced into the storyline. A little bit of backdrop, like I Wikipedia'd it. I had some, older like friends that played the original ones, and that was super cool. And when I played Doom 3, it was a dope first-person shooter that like seemed to kind of revamp this old school style of gameplay. This just shoot 'em up, straight melee, run and dash towards your enemy and stuff like that. So when I see Doom, like just Doom, it resonates with me on a different level. If you're a tactical gamer, if you're a dude who enjoys strategy or patience or things along the lines like that, anticipating people's movements, this game is not for you, because this game is straight. It's literally like run him up, just run and shoot.
Yeah, it's the Godfather of run and gun for sure. I mean, and Doom is in a weird place right now because it's been so long since people really cared about Doom. I mean, no one was like, ooh, is there a new Doom game coming out? It's not something that people are paying attention to, really. So it's kind of odd to see that announcement. It's fucking cool, but it's odd. I mean, and it's something that resonates fondly in people's minds. I mean, people who were in college in that time period and were like modding Doom to go on to whatever the fuck they can get it on. I mean, they're putting Doom on the computers before Windows was even really a thing. You had to run it alongside Windows. It wasn't like a program you ran in Windows. You had to like dual boot and like do a separate shit. I mean, that's how old Doom is. And I mean, so it's definitely like a nostalgia point for a lot of people, but I don't necessarily think anyone is going to be super excited for a new one. But that could be just my opinion. I don't want to anger people.
There's definitely a certain type of person that wants to play a Doom game. Like, if you like Doom, you like other games. Like, you're most likely going to be into FPS. You're not going to really like dungeon crawlers.
Well, they're talking about like the chainsaw in it and stuff. It kind of like with the new Doom anyway. They're like the chainsaw in it. It kind of reminded me, it's going to be kind of Gears of War and just like big buff dudes.
But really first-person shooter. Like I can see how they're like, oh, we can make it that big. Like, Gears of War has definitely put a pedestal on, like, the scale of an enemy, as well as the brutality in which you can use a weapon.
Yeah.
But with Doom, this, like, from what I perceived from the trailer and from the gameplay that I watched, like, they introduced a health system that is no longer run off med packs.
Yeah.
Like, you don't find health just randomly throughout the map. You have to kill an enemy to gain its health. Like, it's kind of a vampire style.
Oh, yeah, so
like, you need to kill an enemy. If you're going to die, the only way to survive is to kill an enemy, which is cool, which means it's forcing you to fight in combat, and it's forcing you to actively just keep pushing. Just keep pushing.
Well, and the med pack system has pretty much died in gaming in general. Yeah, it sucks dick. I mean, like, some games are really into it. I mean, even
Halo got rid of it.
Oh yeah, Halo was one of the first. Well, I don't want to say one of the first, but it was one of the main ones. That was like, oh, recharging shield. This is trippy. Remember when the first Halo came out? It was like,
it was the first time we could hide. Yeah, the first time we could hide. Like,
oh, I'm just gonna be behind this rock.
I'm not gonna die. Like, if I escape from here, just need to kick it for a minute.
Oh shit, fuck that Elite. I'm gonna be over here for a second. We're cool.
Yeah, but for Doom, the reason why I'm like kind of super interested is because like they introduced like an Assassin's Creed style fluidity. The way that you're moving between shooting an enemy to melee to transferring towards a different like scale. Like, they introduced a little bit of parkour. You can raise and jump down levels way more. It's not just as flat.
Yeah.
It's not just traveling. You need to climb a little bit more. And just like the fact that you're literally like shooting, punching, reloading, like it just seems so much. And then the one thing that sold me is the teaser. I saw the teaser before.
I'm talking about the super short one.
Literally,
like the one that was
seconds.
like the tiniest teaser ever made.
You see a double barrel super shotgun.
Yeah.
And then all you hear is just the most demonic scream.
Yeah.
Of just like a lost soul, just like ah! And then it just shows this. I forget what it's called. But it's just this dude carrying this backpack with like basically Predator missiles attached to him, and it's just a stripped down skeleton with some muscle remaining, and his eyes are all whitened, and it's just the coolest vision, the coolest image that you can see. Like, for 5 seconds,
it was the shortest thing ever.
The whole game, though.
It was so short, but it was a trip. Like, we're gonna look back on that when the game comes out and be like, do you remember that shit?
Remember how crazy that
was? That was just like tiny as fuck.
Okay, so before we get into E3, like really deep, we're going to make sure that this stuff saves, and we'll be back in literally 2 seconds. So live streamers, stay tuned, and we'll BRB.
Yep.
Boom. Back. Just until we get things settled, we just need to make sure that it's saved. So that way you're not seeing super sketchy footage that we just recovered and stuff like that. Someone just died outside.
We didn't do it.
We have
video proof.
3 more big things that we want to discuss about E3. So what was the second?
Okay, so let's go over Dishonored 2 and Mirror's Edge 2 probably at the same time because they're both going to be sequels.
Yeah, they're both pretty similar, like in like hype.
Yeah. So like we're going to start with the base layer and then scale upward. So Dishonored 2 was announced, and looking pretty dope. I mean, all we really know right now is that, like, okay, so you can play as Emily and Corvo. You're gonna play through both of them. Emily is the princess in the first one. She grows up. A lot of this is kind of polarizing. People are either super excited for Dishonored 2, or they're like, who fucking cares? Because a lot of people didn't get into Dishonored. I personally enjoyed Dishonored a lot. It was meant to be played multiple times through, and I think a lot of people ruined the experience for themselves because they try to go full stealth the first time in, and like, you know, if you ghost and no one even sees you, then you get the achievements and stuff. But it's difficult as shit. Whereas if like the first time you just say, fuck it, I'm gonna smash through it and just play how I want to play, then it's a lot of fun, and then you go back through and stealth it.
But on the opposite side, if you did that, then you realize that the game was extremely short, and it was very short-lived. It also followed into like a very repetitive like process to where it felt a lot like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
You just go to this dude, kill this guy, cool. Go to this place, kill this guy, cool. Which in process, like on paper, seems, you know, pretty legit. But until like your style, it's also how much fun you make out of it. If you wanted to do complete stealth, you had a very troublesome time, and it was very nerve-wracking. If you wanted to just go guns out and just blazing, it's very easy to kill those enemies, and it's very easy to overpower them.
You could smash them.
But you're also going to just not enjoy it as much. You're going to have a very shorter game time, which I usually did. I did a little bit of 50-50, but
see, I was like, I'm like the person who's like straight stealth as shit. I tried to do stealth my first time. And
I go stealth as much until I can't, and then I just start murdering.
No, then I just like go back to the last save point and fucking hate myself 2 hours later and just put the game away for a while. I'm one of those assholes, dude. I am. I'm like, fuck it.
So as far as Dishonored 2, like, what are you expecting to see?
I hope they're gonna fix some of the problems that the original had, like length. But I honestly think Dishonored hasn't been really played out yet. Just like the general mechanics of it. I mean, the blink system, and just boom, 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 teleporting. That shit is fun.
That's,
you know,
super fun.
And I think there's more life into that.
You also saw in the trailer, if you paid like a little bit closer attention to the detail, she not only has the blink ability, but she has like a darker blink. Like hers is like alive. Like, did you watch the trailer?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen the trailer?
No, fuck me, man. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Well, we're gonna fucking watch it after. If you have not seen the trailer, spoiler alert. Like, you see the what's the character's name?
Emily or Corvo?
Emily. You see this interpretation of Emily, who's a little bit of like what is it called? Watchdog style. She has like this bandana and this cool jacket and hat on. And when she's blinking to a different area, she's not necessarily teleporting, but there's this dark matter energy that's literally like grasping that place and drawing her towards it.
Oh, that's
And at one point, there's like robotic sentient like cyborgs that are throwing this room around, and she's like about to be smashed against the wall, and it slows down into that like stop motion kind of gameplay. And you see these things like claws just like protruding out of like her first person view, and they're dragging her like, you know, like blinking, but they're like this live being somehow. I'm not sure how that's going to play into the storyline. We still don't really know that much of the origin of Corvo's ability, so this might be a little bit more of a background story. So I'm pumped. I love that game. As much as it was short-lived, I enjoyed that playthrough way too many times. I played it like 3 times.
It was fun. The art style was trippy shit, like the steampunk style. But like all the characters are like kind of weird misshapen looking, like all the guards, like their huge ass calves, kind of.
Yeah,
you know,
they're very cartoonish.
Yeah, I mean,
but the mask, dude. When you see that mask, it was just worth it for that mask and the little crossbow thing. Like,
just knowing you were the dude, and it was like, yeah.
So as far as Dishonored 2, thumbs up. I'm excited for it.
So Mirror's Edge 2, but we're not supposed to call it Mirror's Edge 2 because they're really trying to. They're trying to distance themselves. It's not a sequel. It's kind of like basically a reboot of the series. They're trying to change it up. And the developers know this too. We were talking about this earlier, where the first Mirror's Edge kind of felt like a tech demo. I mean, it was like a speed run. The whole thing was just running straight through, just linear. It was a ton of fun, but
it wasn't very detailed.
It grabbed a certain amount of people, and then everybody else kind of went, you know, it's cool, I guess. So the new one definitely looks like there's a story where there wasn't before. And I don't know necessarily how I feel about that. It looks cool. The story looked really cool. The trailer looked really well done. The city looked much more alive. Like there's a nightlife to it. It wasn't just like white buildings everywhere.
Like moving around inside of it.
Yeah, like it looked much more living. You know, and the combat looked like totally revamped as well. But the small subsection of the internet has been fucking super mad because she looks way more Asian now.
But I don't understand that argument because when you see if you look at Mirror's Edge, the first like game disc case, whatever. That chick is Asian as fuck.
Yeah, okay,
no
but
disputing it.
Yeah, but like
she's not
apparently
like
she looks more Asian now, and you couldn't tell she was Asian in that one, or.
But they upped up the graphics.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have the technology to do that shit back then.
Yeah, that was
now they
literally
can.
one of the first Xbox games.
Yeah, and it's like they couldn't do it back then. They can now. What's the problem? Yeah.
You can arguably say that Mirror's Edge helped develop the influence or the inspiration behind Assassin's Creed's gameplay. Like,
oh, absolutely.
You did not see games like Mirror's Edge before Mirror's Edge. You didn't see a game that was interactive as well as introducing free running and parkour like they did. It was also before parkour was even popular. Like, this was a game that kind of like was like, oh shit, like people do this in real life. That's why it made it so.
Like the internet videos of parkour were just starting to get big, and then this game came out. And we kind of owe Mirror's Edge a little bit too, because it represents a time period in video games, like when those consoles were first coming out, where developers didn't know what was going to be big, so they're just taking shots at shit.
It looks like
a
demo. That's the biggest problem.
It's different. It's out there. It's completely different than the standard regular shooter. But they were just taking shots at random shit and seeing what shook out. And
I honestly think this weight is going to do well for them, because it gives them time to develop. It gives them time to see things such as, Assassin's Creed. It's these other games just like that introduce the same exact story play, even with Max Payne. Like that, not Max Payne. Mad Max. Mad Max seems to follow a very similar storyline, or at least like engine that runs off of things like The Warriors, Assassin's Creed, Sleeping
you're talking
Dogs.
about that brawler style to where you can like
brawler style with reaction and things like that.
But that was made popular really by like the Batman series and all that kind of stuff.
I think the Warriors were before Batman.
Oh yeah, definitely it was.
Like that game changed how PS was like, dude. Like for sure, Sleeping Dogs is directly influenced by the Warriors. Like it's almost the same game, just a different skin on top of it. Yeah. And that's how I honestly believe that like Batman became as well as it was, because you not only introduced this amazing system where you're dealing with reaction time, as well as like a very fluid movement between fighting, but you're also seeing this dope-ass character behind it. So you got background, you've got backstory.
Well, yeah, so Batman, and then, so that also carries it, and it's a great engine, and Rocksteady's the shit. And is it Rocksteady who's making Batman Arkham Knight, do you know? I don't off the top of my head. I know that they didn't. I know that they didn't make Batman Arkham Origins, but they made the first two. They made City was the second one, whatever the first one was. Arkham Asylum. Yeah, sorry, we're stupid right now. But, yeah. So anyway, I think that's...
Scarecrow was the first enemy in Asylum, and now he's like the main dude in Night.
Honestly?
Is this like... Do you feel like this is the end all?
Well, Arkham Knight is the main enemy, and it's kind of... We have no fucking clue who Arkham Knight is. And a lot of people are like...
Red Hood.
Yeah, no shit. And that's what I think the general consensus is, or like some sort of
even the
hush
DLC
weirdness.
was confirmed for Red Hood.
Yeah, or some sort of weird hush thing,
I don't think they would introduce Hush into the as vast of a.
Well, Arkham City Hush. There's a bunch of Hush side plots.
Maybe he's like a Zaz or something like that. I don't think he's the dude behind Night.
We've definitely met Victor Zaz a bunch. There was a Hush background stuff, but we never saw the character. Like anything about Hush. We just found notes and.
Dude,
whatever.
What if this is a Talon?
Oh, dude.
I don't think they'd go that deep, but that'd be very fucking dope. To find out that it's either...
What if it's even weirder though? What if it's a brand new character? Do you think they would make a brand new character when there's so much in the Batman universe already?
I think that they would create a character and it would be a real character beneath it. I think Arkham Knight is a storyline, but Arkham Knight is an actual character within the
for the game.
It's made just for the game. That Knight
new is made for the game. Arkham Knight. It only exists right now in this game.
It has
so everyone's speculating what actual comic book character it is or where it ties in. But that's why it tripped everybody up, because everyone was like, and I think they did that on purpose. I think they're developing it like that on purpose because they didn't want the fucking comic book nerds to be like, I know everything about this character already way before the game even comes out. So this is probably what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it's a good way to fight criticism.
Oh yeah,
I honestly think
we're gonna change the game completely.
You bash me if I'm wrong, but as of right now, in my eyes, Red Hood is the most viable character.
Yeah, I agree.
He has the exact same bat on his chest. He has the same red colors. He has a mask.
It follows that. It seems like he'd be trained by Batman. The way he operates and shit. It's
he moves like Batman. And one of the biggest things too is if you look at the details of his gun, I believe Red Hood has been hinted towards in one of the other ones. Was he in Origins?
Ooh, you know what, man? I'm playing Origins. I haven't beat Origins. I'm playing Origins on my stream right now.
I know that in City that Tim Drake is already the Robin that you see.
And because Nightwing is his own
which means
thing,
that Red Hood's gone.
Yeah, so
or, sorry, that means that
Jason Todd
gone.
is that storyline existed somewhere.
That means, and we haven't seen anything hinted towards that. So it's very viable to be like, yo, where's your other Robin? You went straight from Nightwing. You have a Robin in the fucking first Robin, or in the first Batman.
I bet you're right, dude. I bet it's Red Hood, and
Their guns are almost exactly similar.
Shit because they don't want everyone to know, like, oh, Red Hood, yeah.
Think of any other character that has a bat insignia on their chest, that wears a bicycle helmet or a motorcycle helmet, that can keep up to par with Batman and dual wields pistols.
Yeah.
It's fucking Red Hood. And if I'm wrong, I'm gonna look so dumb. But in my eyes, I believe it's Red Hood, and I hope it is.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I mean, it's all they took inspiration from Red Hood. Even if it isn't, they're going for that.
Maybe you don't need Red Hood to defeat Arkham Knight.
Jurassic World. If you haven't seen it, you should.
Came out 2 days ago?
Came out Friday. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to date the podcast, but yeah. So it came out Friday. But
13th.
I mean, so the movie's good. There's definitely some shit. I don't want to spoil things here. There's definitely some stuff where you're just like, really? Do you need like a touching family moment right now? And you can tell it's made for 3D, like with some of the swooping shots. But overall, really fucking cool. And the third act is just badass. And I mean, there's gonna be something that you haven't seen at all through the whole movie. You're gonna be like, where is this thing? And it doesn't come in until the very end, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is what we wanted to see all along. We just didn't know it yet. So Jurassic World is fucking sick, and it just passed. What is it? The number one top grossing, like first weekend, like box opening kind of deal. Fuck, did I say that right? I don't know.
Number one.
It made more money in a weekend than any other movie has ever.
Yeah, the biggest opening weekend.
Yeah.
It beat Avengers, he said, right?
Yeah. So it was $209 million in the first weekend. Avengers did $207. So I mean, I didn't think I knew this movie was gonna be good and like big. I didn't think it was gonna be a blockbuster. Like,
in one of the articles I read, it did like 218.
Nah, that's way too high,
no?
Dude. No.
Maybe it was just a false source, but that's what I saw.
If it did another,
either way, no matter what, dude, that's amazing.
10 million? Maybe it did. That would be crazy if it was over, or if it was another 10 million higher than Avengers. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see international. You know, I mean, international is going to be huge. And that's just the first weekend. I mean, a lot of good box office movies don't make that amount of money during its whole theater run. And even if it's a good movie, you know what I mean? So we'll have to see what happens in the future because it could potentially make a shitload of money. I mean, what did Avatar do? Avatar, its whole run did like 700 or over, some crazy. They got close to $1 billion, I think, especially with international, and made way too much money.
And they're also going to see a lot of income and revenue coming from they just announced a Lego set. All the toys. There's a mobile app. Like, dude, they're milking Jurassic Park like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of product placement in the movie. You'll catch. There's definitely like a little conversation between one of the characters about a shirt he's wearing, and you can tell it's like they're trying to sell this shirt. They want you to go look it up right now. And like little dinosaur figurines in the movie that they like specifically bring up, and you're like, all right, this is placement.
That's gonna be at Walmart.
Yeah, this is gonna be product placement right here. This is pretty blatant and shameless, but fuck it, it's a decent movie.
Jurassic Park.
All right, so
big boys,
you ready? You ready? So everyone knew.
Heavy breathing.
Everyone knew Fallout 4 was gonna come out, and we knew the announcement was gonna be at E3 because the trailer came out like what was it 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
What we didn't know was gonna be the release date. People were speculating, is it gonna be February, March of next year? Because that's a huge time period. 4 games to drop. Is it the best answer? Probably would have been holiday of next year of 2016, because a year out from E3.
See a new system, or not new system, but like a new updated version of a system along with a pack. Like that's what holiday usually does. They'll be like, oh, here's the slim version of the Xbox One, including Fallout.
Yeah,
and then they'll have a customized skin and stuff like that. They usually do that for promotion.
I just thought it was gonna be way more than a year out, and they fucking mic drop, and they were like November 10th of this year.
11, 10, 15.
Boom.
It's coming out, you guys. We're less than 6 months away from seeing playing Fallout 4.
That's fucking crazy how good they did it. Like, I feel like so many games get leaked these days too. They kept it under wraps.
I had no idea.
It had to have been worked on
for.
That's like a game that like takes like 4 or 5 years of development. They kept that shit under wraps so tight. Now it's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's here. It's practically done right now.
Basically, that's what they're saying. And honestly, I think they are done right now. They're just working on the online perspective, the online aspect that they're going to introduce, because it's never been as big as it is now. The amount of servers that are running off Xbox One are, 4, 5, 6 times more than that was on the regular 360.
It's going to be...
And it's just going to be nuts. Also, if you guys weren't watching, there is an interview for post E3. E3 is still going on right now.
Yeah.
But there was a main trailer that was basically shown that wasn't necessarily a trailer. It was just like a kind of like informational, like what you can expect from what you're going to see. And they announced the biggest adaptation that basically that they're the newest thing that they're introducing that's going to revolutionize the entire franchise of Fallout. You're going to be able to build your own house or shelter. What did they call it?
Fuck, oh.
But you're going to be able to take objects all around the universe, whether
set
it's
it up yourself.
a toy car or a brick or a rubber tire, and you're going to have categories in which you need to build certain items, whether it's a cup to a rifle scope to a pistol. You're going to have certain categories and certain things that you can make up. It can be one of each, as long as it corresponds with one of the categories, you can make this thing.
I totally feel like this was borrowed from, a few months ago, or not even that long, like a month ago, there's the talk about like modders and how they changed the game. Is it bad that they changed the game or good? So like when Skyrim came out, like you didn't have a house originally in Skyrim, and then modders made it to where you had a house, and then developers looked at me like, oh yeah, people want a home base, and they want to design it however they want. Whether, do they want to put dead bodies in here? Do they want to like put tables and chairs or whatever? And you see people's weird ass houses they design. And I feel like that was directly taken from that. When Fallout 4 was being designed, they're like, people want to, once they beat the main game, they want to make their own setup out here. And I honestly, I want to thank the modders for that. But
thank you, nerds. Thank you, dudes. And like you said, that's definitely having to do with the fact that they are run by the same company. Bethesda is, the main dudes behind Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls story or series, and you're seeing their direct, whatever you would call opinions or suggestions or thoughts on that series and that storyline directly correlating with Fallout 4. You're seeing the ability to have a home base. Not only do you have a home base, but you can set up defenses. You can customize it, like not just visually as like, let me put a chair here or let me do this here. You can run generators in which that operate turrets, lighting systems, trolleys, teleportation devices that link you into between your other bases. The one cool thing too is that you're introducing a raid system. You have not only a house that you have to build and find scrap parts for throughout the universe, but you now have to defend that. Yeah. On a daily basis, I think?
Dude, once again, you know more about this than I do right now?
I watched a little bit more. Like, I don't know anything close to all the story, but from what I saw, like, whether it's a daily basis, a weekly basis, or even a month, at one point, you're going to have to fight raiders with, whoever you gain, whatever defenses you have, against this army of raiders trying to take your shit and take over your land. And not only can you make one, but you can make multiple, and you can have a teleportation device that links you to these multiple locations. So it's amazing.
So that brings us to another thing too, is the aesthetic. Like Fallout 3 was a bleak, dark looking game, just as far as how it looked. I mean, a lot of monochromatic scenes, one color, dark browns like and grays.
Just straight desert.
Yeah, I mean, in Washington, it was cool. But this, it definitely looked like they went with a more, I don't want to say cartoonish, but just artsy style. There's more color. There's more color for sure. And I think it's going to be good. I mean, the skies didn't look quite so blue. Yeah, it's going to be fun, dude. It's going to be so pretty to run around, Yeah. I mean,
there like we kind of talked about it a little bit before the podcast, and there's definitely like, I believe what they're working towards is like an evolve universe from where they first started off. If you think of Elder Scrolls, for example, and you go back to Morrowind, that universe looks completely different than the universe we see now, because you think about civilization and time and future, things progress, technology becomes more available, the universe doesn't look as bad. And I think with Fallout they kind of wanted to really exaggerate on the fact that this was a bleak existence of a world. You literally had to shut societies and civilizations inside of vaults in order to shield them from the radioactive waste outside, and slowly throughout time it's lessening in radiation, and we're seeing more growth of life and a more vivid sky, things like that too. So
to change it around here, you were just talking about the vaults and I heard you and that brought it up. Did you know that they dropped an iOS app? I don't know if it's on Android yet, but there's a game right now called it's called Fallout 4 Shelter, actually, or I don't know if it's just Fallout Shelter or Fallout 4 Shelter, and you're basically just running the inside of a vault, and you have to make sure it all works, and like place different things like med bays in different areas and stuff. So I mean, they're pushing onto the mobile platform right now too. I mean, Bethesda's having a huge year, and I'm pretty sure this is their baby right now, dude. Like out of nowhere, Bethesda just came out swinging this year at E3, and they're like at E3 and just they're here to fucking just tear shit up. They're
because
the stars
people are
right now.
so done with this, shoot 'em up kind of game, which is exactly like to compete with Doom. If you were to watch, people that were into Battlefield or Call of Duty, you see a lot of characters that have like, super short attention spans. But then you see an even deeper community. You have, these 14-year-old kids that like to shoot 'em up, talk shit, and just, T-bone or teabag dudes on the internet. But you also have this like developing group of people, whether they're 10 to 30 to 50, who love to expand in a universe where you grow with your character. You start off from nothing and you build up to castles. You have a storyline that you can choose to follow or ignore. And
Thank you,
also
Minecraft, dude. Minecraft, I mean, I don't know.
Somewhat similar, like to where you can literally, like that's a building. I'm talking about like, you choose his name, his race, his character. Like people want to develop into these characters because not only is it a somewhat of a representation of yourself, but it's a way to get lost in this universe. It's
and not the typical MMO, style, MMORPG style too. I mean, I think that's honestly like on a waning thing. Like World of Warcraft is going to, it's a new style of gamer that doesn't necessarily want to like focus on mapping all their spells on the keyboard the correct way to get all their macros and stuff. Like that. Yeah, but as you were just saying, it's like a new style of RPG that is emerging. WoW games like Call of Duty. I mean, what a surprising little amount is being said about Call of Duty at
E3. There's almost no gun. There's no gun games except for Doom.
Well, and like it's kind of crazy how Call of Duty is starting with the last one, or actually the one before the last. So starting with Ghosts has just started losing people each year, and it's like,
What's also Call of Duty split. Like you have to think that you have Infinity
Ward,
and then you have Treyarch.
Sledgehammer, and Treyarch. Yeah. So they split it so that way they could each have 3-year development cycles. But it's
ruining. Like it's like sucking away different like types of gamers because only certain gamers are playing certain Call of Duty.
Like the zombies game mode is in Treyarch's games. Infinity Ward has I think Infinity Ward actually has zombies now.
They introduced it, but it's not.
It's not the same.
Infinity Ward is more multiplayer, if anything.
Sledgehammer had like a horde mode, if I'm remembering right, like a Spec Ops horde mode kind of deal or something like that.
Oh, possibly. I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's definitely, you're not seeing as many games where it's like, hey, here, just play some multiplayer online, which is cool. You see Battlefield Hardline, it's not doing that well, but it's still
good. It's
still good, dude.
Honestly, Battlefield Hardline's decent.
If you like playing Battlefield, Hardline's the shit. But if you're looking for a new type of game that's going to revolutionize what you play as and what you see, and that is competing against virtual reality. Technically, these consoles that we see today are trying to compete with the fact that people can buy headsets for their PC with a vaster variety of games, with a more like literally dive-in technology, and they're like, what can we do to fight against virtual reality?
Dude, the Oculus Rift consumer version, there was a picture of it that leaked. That the creator of Oculus Rift came out and said, "Oh, that's not it." But the consumer version leaked that's like much smaller, and what it's actually gonna look like for regular people, and like the GPU is like on the side and shit. So he came out and was like, "Oh, this is an outdated model. It's way better looking now. You could tell because the GPU is old and stuff like that." But it's not gonna be the same Oculus Rift that is available right now for developers that you could buy for what is like $700,
$600.
Yeah, still a lot of money. But there are going to be like consumer versions that are getting much smaller. Like they're prepping for this in the near future. I mean, I think virtual reality has a place in gaming.
For sure.
It's going to be a niche for a while, but it could be a niche that could potentially just expand and like
once you get down the ability to have different types of games very easily without downloading, different betas and having to adjust settings and all that stuff. Virtual I think Xbox and PS or Sony, whatever you want to say, they're literally just waiting until they work their shit out. Like they're like, yeah, dude, we're just gonna make Dishonored 2 we're gonna make Fallout 4 and just wait until y'all make shit cool enough for us to learn and back engineer from it.
Yeah.
Or maybe create their entirely different version and incorporate that in their games already.
Well, what I think is interesting too is with virtual reality getting bigger, it's almost like a resurgence of PC gaming because consoles were like killing PC gaming for a while.
PC was dead for the longest time.
Yeah.
Except WoW. WoW and Counter-Strike are the only things that strive to push it.
I mean, I was always a PC gamer. There was always that market, of those nerds who would like torrent games.
Random games.
Yeah, like torrent them and keep them.
Developers are making games for developers.
And now it's going back the other way. It's like, okay, you needed a really good PC to set up all this Oculus shit. So, it's swinging back the other way, and people were like, whoa, really good game deals are on computers, and So now you see all
Yeah, they're
these
cheaper
crazy
online.
rigs coming out. You know what I mean?
Modifications.
And now consoles are starting to be like, oh shit, we got to figure some stuff out and be more like computers. So you see like the consoles adding different functionalities and stuff.
They're trying to make consoles computers because
Yeah.
you can play not only Xbox games, but you can play PlayStation games on PC. Like not the game, but you can play the same game, the exact same game.
Better or whatever.
But it's for PC. It's better graphics. You have a better video
60
game
frames
card,
a second.
And you also have the ability to mod your skins, mod your game style. Like you can mod the entire world if you know enough code.
PC mods are the reason Skyrim is still just as powerful as it is. You know what I mean? People still buy Skyrim at an alarming amount because they mod the shit out of it. GTA 4 still exists. You know, people buying it like crazy still because of mods. I mean, you could look up GTA 4 ice mods and it looks beautiful. Way better than anything you've ever seen in a video game. Way better than GTA 5. And now, they're talking about how GTA 5 is unmoddable and it's like, bullshit, dude. They've already got Iron Man mods and super speed mods.
Yeah, I just saw the Iron Man mod. Yeah, dude, that was super cool.
And that's just the beginning. That's just what they could do after figuring out how to change some numbers around. When they really start figuring out how to break into the assets, fucking GTA 5 is going to be a whole different animal, too. It's not going to be
8-bit. It's going to be like, we made a new game out of a game.
Well, that's what GTA 4 looks like. With the ice mods and the HD mods, it's like, oh, this is what GTA 4 looked like before, just muddy and shitty. And now it's like, holy shit, you could if you just freeze frame this, you'd think it was real. It's just creepy as shit. And someone computer somewhere is at like 1,000,000 degrees and super hot and melting shit. But
just so that fucking exists.
I don't know, man. Anyway, E3 was really, really good this year. It was really, it was well documented. I mean, there's a bunch of companies that were doing live streams.
I watched it on an Xbox. I got the best footage from Twitch TV off an Xbox. Like, it was so clear. It didn't lag. It had all the information. I was watching it from my phone at one point. Like, it was so good.
I hope that bleeds over into other cons and like other.
They're gonna see it. They're gonna see the fucking views that E3 got. People are going to do it all the time.
No, I hope so. I want to be a much bigger part of it.
Live stream into what we see now for cons, everything.
The fact that and that goes back to what we were just saying. The fact that you can turn on your Xbox and be like, oh shit, I'm gonna watch this right now. Yeah, it's on the front. Yeah, click done. But it's a good year. The holiday season of this year is gonna be fucking dope. I mean, Fallout 4 is coming out, and I haven't even touched The Witcher 3, so. My life is gone.
I gotta clone myself.
Yeah, I know. I don't have the time. Fucking Shadow Jetsu or some shit.
So E3 was amazing. Just overall, if you've not seen it yet, it's still live streaming today. This is gonna come out a little bit further into the future, but it's probably gonna be clips online throughout the rest of the year. You can see these gameplay trailers as we speak. There's even more coming out. We even just saw a fucking Battlefield gameplay trailer. Have you seen that yet? It came out today.
No.
Okay, we're going to watch that after this. But this has been the Guycast. Guycast E-3PO. My name's Guyver. Find me at Th3 Guycast. We are in the middle of getting our website set up. But until then, you can find us on YouTube at Black Umbrella Channel. It's going to be BLVCK Umbrella. And until then, just make sure you find us on Instagram and YouTube because we want to get your suggestions and your questions and comments so we can talk about it in later episodes and refer it to future guests and stuff like that.
On top of that, you can always hear me talking about nerd shit on my own YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/SwenySpeed, SWENYSPEED. I stream on Twitch all the time. I did a couple hours of Sleeping Dogs today.
I just watched your last one.
Yeah, a lot of the same stuff we talk about here, I just talk more about nerd shit. It's the same kind of stuff. So if you want to hear more of it, a lot of it might be the exact same that we talk about. I can use two, whatever. But you know us. That's
D. So that's been Guycast. We'll see you guys later. Make
five.
sure you check us out on Black Umbrella. And we be seeing you guys soon.
Love you.
Very battle, not known for leaving the tavern. Last the weed I'm smoking potent, it's comparable to Saren guys, the Jedi outcast. Joker with the clown mask, get your town fast. Throwing tear gas, like at half-mast, badass like Joey.